Um, Hi everyone. Um, I'm sure you've heard the news that the great David Bowie has transcended this plane and moved into the next one. Not like he was ever on this plane. He was always on his own plane. But it was a plane that we could see him. We could reach out and touch him. He's moved to another universe. We can't really reach him there until we have to transcend it ourselves. I felt like doing a little video just about Bowie, about my feelings of Bowie, because while he was never an artist that I really I really knew a lot about. He was every time I listened to one of his songs or one of his albums, it felt like an event. It was a real big event, to listen to something by Bowie, because of just how original and how different he was. Every album was different than the last, and I love that. I love that, like, he didn't stay in one place for very long. He was always changing, and people call him a chameleon. Not just because of and that doesn't just apply to his the way he looked and all that. A lot of people just do it for the visual, but musically, I mean, how can you compare? How can you compare pinups to Young Americans or Diamond Dogs to Station or anything like that? Or he was always moving forwards. I mean, even with the same bands, with albums like Hunky Dory and Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, it just even those two albums were vastly different, in my opinion. Feel like Changes. I mean, Hunky Dory with songs like Changes and Oh You Pretty Things is very very just straightforward, but he really turns it up for Rise and Fall. And yeah, just I don't know. But anyway, let's see, what else can I play? I'm trying to playing just different songs by him. Oh, you know what I want to hear? I know what I want to hear. But yeah, so I just wanted to just talk about my feelings about him. And yeah, so gosh, last night when I remember when I heard about it, I was at a bar and somebody just randomly yelled it out, and we all just kind of stopped and totally got on our phones to confirm it. And sure enough, it wasn't in the news, but it was on his Twitter. His family announced it. And for a minute, we wanted to just convince ourselves that it was a hoax. And for a minute, I believed it, I believed that it was just a hoax. That he got hacked or something like that, And in this world of, cyber terrorism and all that crap, I was about to believe it. I was about to believe that he was hacked, and somebody was playing a horrendous joke on us all, but then it just kind of it just started to make, but I saw more and more reports on it, and it said, and I just, and then it dawned on me, Black Star. He had only released Black Star, 2 days ago, on, January 8th, which was his 69th birthday at that. And it kind of, it just all made sense that I think, that he knew Black Star was going to be his last album. Because I have not heard it yet. And I was going to get it. I just haven't had the money, and as soon as I get paid, though, I'm going to get it. And I could listen to it on Spotify, but that's not the point, though. That's really not the point of it, you know. And I remember when I saw the track listing, I was kind of dismayed that there were only 7 tracks on there, and I thought that's kind of short, you know. But in the end, you know, especially when I realized, you know, I thought about it and I thought, wait a minute, what if that's all he had the strength to do was 7 tracks, you know? And so it's like, you know, you just have to forgive him for that, you know? I mean, well, you don't have to forgive him, you just have to accept it, you know? You just have to, you know that, you know, that's what he could do, you know? And while I've only heard a little bit of Lazarus, and that is actually from Michael C. Hall, or was his name Michael C. Hall, the Dexter guy, because he's doing the stage show. And I remember that was another hint that I knew that it was like kind of scaring me about Bowie was that when somebody was when he mentioned he was on Stephen Colbert promoting the show, and he mentioned that David Bowie doesn't tour anymore, doesn't perform live anymore. And I thought, well, damn, that must mean that he's like probably too sick to do it, you know? And that scared the hell out of me. And I thought, holy shit, you know? I mean, and then when he passed, I thought, you know what? I think he knew. I think he, like, maybe he talked to his doctor and he knew it was coming. I think another thing that tipped me off was just the release date. I think the release date and the announcement. I think it only just found out about it back in September. I think was when he announced Black Star, and it just came out of nowhere. I think it was just like David Bowie is releasing a new album called Black Star in January, and I'm like, whoa, you know. Well, that sounds like, first of all, I was like, oh, that's awesome, you know. But then I was like, wait a minute, you know, that's kind of weird, you know. It's like there's almost like it just comes out of nowhere, you know, that soon. Yeah, just, I mean, I didn't think too much of it, but the seeds were planted, you know. And yeah, no, just, and then when he passed, it was just like, you know, that just it all made sense suddenly. He definitely knew that this was going to be his last album. And well, like I said, well, at the moment I haven't heard it, and I'm waiting to hear it. You know, I'm waiting to buy it on CD and just, you know, listen to it then. You know, hopefully on Thursday when I get paid. But yeah, no. So I'm scared. I'm kind of scared to hear this. I know I'm gonna be bawling probably. But yeah, no, it was weird because everybody at the bar just wanted to believe it was a hoax, and I think only a few of us kind of finally took it to heart. And it was karaoke night, and we just all started singing Bowie. You know, I sang Fame because that was one of the few songs I know I could pull off, you know, without. And I wanted to sing something. I wanted to sing, you know, one of his happier cuts. Although it's not really a happy cut; it's more of his angrier cuts. But it's upbeat, it's funky, you know. And he's got John Lennon on it, you know. How else could you go? How could you go wrong? You know, this is a bloody fantastic song. It's one of my all-time favorite songs, you know, too. Definitely one of the first songs I ever heard by Bowie. And I think a lot of that was from my mom, who is a huge Beatles fan, and, you know, loved John Lennon and his solo work. So, you know, she's a fan of Fame because, you know, Lennon's on the cut. But yeah, I didn't really grow up with listening to Bowie too much. I knew some of his work, mostly from commercials. Sadly, you know, they used Changes in some credit card commercial or something like that. Or oh gosh, and I remember other songs like China Girl, and but yeah, one that my dad used to play all the time when I was younger was he was a huge Pat Metheny group fan, and he really liked He loved, Pat Metheny Group, and so he loved the movie The Falcon and the Snowman, and so Pat Metheny Group did the soundtrack, and David Bowie sang the single off the soundtrack, "This Is Not America." And so I used to hear that one a lot, and my parents weren't huge Bowie fans. My mom liked Fame because of Lennon. My dad liked, This Is Not America. But he liked a lot of other David Bowie songs too. One that he always mentioned was All the Young Dudes, which he knew more for Mott the Hoople's version of it. And yeah, he heard and I remember a year ago, or two ago, we were at Applebee's and he heard All the Young Dudes, and he's like, he just got really wistful because he remembers that song. He's like, didn't David Bowie write that song? I was like, yes, he did. And it was a really interesting moment. I think that was when and then he went out and bought Best of Bowie, shortly afterwards, and he played it for like a whole month nonstop, and yeah, that was really cool. So, and as for me, I don't remember how I really started to explore Bowie. I don't remember when it started. I think a lot of it started with Let's Dance, the Let's Dance album, which I have right here, funny enough. I used to have it on vinyl. I just bought this about less than a year ago. It was on sale at Barnes & Noble for like $5, and I thought, well, damn, I'm getting it, shoot, And glad I did, because it's a fantastic album. It's one of my favorites. And Modern Love, Chinese Girl, Let's Dance, Shake It, What's My Life? That kind of stuff. Ricochet is not the end of the world. All that, fantastic stuff. Hey, I used to have it on vinyl, but I sold it. I sold it sadly when I got it, or I think I gave it to my brother. I don't think I sold it. I gave it to my brother when I got it on CD. I know he has some Bowie. He has a copy of Tonight, and I think I ended up giving him my copy of The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust too on vinyl, which was pretty beat up anyway. I got it in like a box of free records, and it was like kind of a beat up copy, but I'd love to have that back. Josh, if you're watching this, I want that back. When I come visit you, I'm stealing that from you. But yeah, no. I bought a couple of his albums. I have a couple of David Bowie's albums. Of course, Let's Dance I mentioned, and I have Tonight. Here's my copy of Tonight. Well, actually, this is Josh's copy. This is my brother's copy of Tonight. You can tell because he bought it for $1. He stole my copy. My copy sounds good. At least this has the sleeve in it, which is like, thankfully, it has the sleeve in it. And Never Let Me Down. This is mine. Never Let Me Down. It's a fantastic album. It was one of his lesser liked albums, sadly. I think it was fantastic. Never Let Me Down is one of my favorite David Bowie songs. Too Dizzy's great. Day In, Day Out. Bang Bang. Gosh, fantastic stuff. And then one that another one, the other one I really like is Black Tie White Noise. I got this one mostly for Black Tie White Noise, the title cut he did with I'll Be Sure. And there's some songs that I kind of make me a little cringe a little, like the Wedding song, which I know he did for Iman, and he did it because he loved her, and that's fine, I just, for me, musically, it doesn't sit well with me. Just certain chords, sadly, just kind of turned me off. And with that song, it just didn't make me feel good, That and like, I Know It's Gonna Happen Someday. I just didn't like that one either. Looking for Lester is awesome. Miracle Goodnight. Miracle Goodnight, totally ripping off the Sanford and Son theme. And his cover of I Feel Free. Oh man, that's great. Lucy Cantans, but she dance in a Yeah, pretty cool album. But yeah, I mean, I've heard all his albums. I mean, on YouTube and Spotify and just all the streaming sites and stuff like that. And yeah, I listened to him a long, long time ago back, and I think I started to I got a lot of them from the library too. I think another first was I think Hunky Dory. We had a copy at Hunky Dory at the library for years, and so I finally decided to check it out, and that's when I remembered Changes. I was like, oh yeah, that's that commercial I heard, yeah. And I heard a lot of people do covers of Bowie songs, like Big Audio Dynamite did a cover of Suffragette City as a bonus track on their last physical release, F Punk, and what else? Who else? And Rebel Rebel. I'd heard Rebel Rebel in commercials and TV shows and stuff like that, and movies, and the hits, stuff like that. Starman, of course, was sampled by the Chemical Brothers for their hit Star Guitar. I was a huge Chemical Brothers fan. I am a huge Chemical Brothers fan. So his influence is everywhere. I knew his stuff, but I wasn't, overly familiar with a lot of his work. So I decided to check out his music when I was like back in college. And I remember the first time I heard a lot of it, I just wasn't very impressed. I was really picky about music back then. Like, I needed to hear the music I was listening to needed to be really pretty, really, just really had to be just awesome. And I don't know. There was something about a lot of the early glam rock stuff that just didn't have that kind of stuff. But and so a lot of it, kind of went to the wayside by me. One that I did really like though from the Space Oddity, the David Bowie Space Oddity album, was Letter to Hermione. That's one that is like just pretty, just so damn pretty. Yeah, that one. I mean, Space Oddity is cool too, but like nothing off the first album really excited me. And there were a couple off that, like oh gosh, Unwashed and what's the name of it? Unwashed and Slightly Dismayed, Dismayed or whatever. What is the name of that song? Gosh, I'm trying to think now. Can't think of what the name of the album is. The name of the song is. Gosh, now I have to look it up. Now because I can't. Unwashed and Somewhat Slightly Dazed. That's the name of it. I like that one too. And Letter Hermione, but that was it, sadly. And you're gonna hate me for this, but I remember the first time I heard The Man Who Sold the World, I didn't like a damn thing off of it. And just last night, I stayed up late and listened to The Man Who Sold the World again. And with the exception of The Width of a Circle, which I still don't really feel good. They're still kind of just... It's not my favorite song by him. I think the whole album's fantastic. Like I said, I was really picky. I was very closed off, and but looking back now, it's just I can look at it now and respect it as what it is, and yeah, it's a great album. Yeah, and then just all the other albums, like like I said, I'm taking this week to re-listen to all his albums over again. Listen to Hunky Dory after this, and probably maybe Rise and Fall as well if I don't fall asleep. What else can I tell you? Part of me just wants to sit here and listen to Letter to Hermione. Oh, gosh. Yeah. But I think I remember albums like, what was after? Hunky Dory, had some great cuts on it. Rise and Fall. But, the song that really made me sit up and take notice was Aladdin Sane. When the piano dropped, that piano. that just broke me. And it's like, okay, you're okay. And it's like, I was like, you have my attention, Bowie. Okay, you make this something strange to my eyes. You make it. It's just, oh man. Yeah, but this was when I was like, okay. I hung in there for Bowie because I was just kind of like falling off of it, you know. I wasn't a big on glam rock, you know, really. But Aladdin Sane, like, kind of like brought me back a little, you know. So, you know, I kept listening, you know. And then there was Pin-Ups and Diamond Dogs, and I kind of was just like, there were some okay songs, but then Young Americans came in, and Young Americans kind of, you know, sold me a little bit more, you know, with the soul and Fame, of course, and work with the great Luther Vandross of all people. It's like, damn. Like, holy crap. Fascination, Right. Of course, Young Americans. Just, bloody good album. And then Station to Station with Golden Years. And that's another song that I just, another favorite of mine. It's Golden Years. Oh, wop, wop, wop. And then the Berlin trilogy, like, just was like, what the fuck is this? Low, Heroes, and Lodger. And I loved Lodger was awesome, and DJ and African Nights like oh man, and Low, Breaking Glass. Is it a wonderful place up there now, but I'll never touch you. Let me put that one on next. Then Scary Monsters and Super Creeps. Oh god, that's a great song. Ashes to Ashes was one I knew I'd heard, and so that was fantastic. And Fashion. My man Larry plays that sometimes on his Sunday night dance parties at the Press Club, and so when he drops that, it's like, I know, I'm the only one who turns to the left, and then right, Fashion. And then of course, Let's Dance Tonight, Never Let Me Down. I mean, Tonight's a fantastic album. I love, you know, God Only Knows. Loving the Alien is one of the strangest and most shocking videos. And it's mostly shocking for the ending, because I saw it and it's like just weird and then the last 20 seconds is when like it starts to fade out and suddenly and you see Bowie's like head and it's like he's like time warping, and that scared the shit out of me. It's like, the fuck? And it's like, and I'm listening to it through headphones, watching it on my iPod, and I'm like, you know. And Neighborhood Threat. Oh, fuck. That was a fan. I love Neighborhood Threat. Those four chords, just that hooked me, you know. And yeah, God Only Knows. I didn't like it at first, but I listened to it again just like a couple years ago, and I was like, that is one of the greatest, if not probably the greatest version of cover of that song. No, it might be. I think that's like, I mean, I think it's eons better than the Beach Boys version. Yes, it's a bloody fantastic version. And yeah, and then of course I told you about Never Let Me Down, great song. Absolute Beginners is another great song by him that I like. Yeah, and then, oh gosh, Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. It's another movie that my brother and I watched this movie a while back. And before, you know, this was my brother's a huge Ryuichi Sakamoto fan. So we watched it on his, you know, based on him. And when I found out David Bowie was in, I was like, oh, that's awesome. David Bowie and Ryuichi Sakamoto. I'm like, dude, you know? So we watched it and we were just blown away. I mean, we were a lot younger, so we didn't know, we didn't know a lot about, what World War II and all that, And my brother was a lot, my brother's a few years younger than me, so, he saw it and I think he wasn't, I don't think he really got everything in it. I mean, definitely I didn't, but, him being a lot younger, I think he got a lot less out of it than I did, but who knows? I mean, he's way smarter than me anyway, so he probably got everything. Uh, but yeah, no, I mean that scene. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's a scene builds it. There's a lot of like homosexual tendencies going through this movie, and and we all know that Bowie was very androgynous, and his sexuality was always in question. Um, I mean, a lot of us don't care, and I don't care really, but a lot of people wonder, was he straight, was he gay, that kind of thing. Yeah. But then there's a scene, and these are spoilers, so if you haven't seen Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, I suggest you like scrub ahead till about it's about the 27-minute mark. There's a scene, like starting now. There's a scene where like the climax of this movie where David Bowie's character kisses Ryuichi Sakamoto's character like on the lips, like kind of like Italian style, and his character and Sakamoto's character just breaks down, and the music swells, and it just gets all intense, and it's like, damn. That was the moment when we just looked at each other like, dude. Spoilers over. Spoilers over. So anyway, yeah, if you haven't seen this one, great. It's a great movie. Although a lot of my friends, almost all of my friends, know Bowie as the Goblin King from Labyrinth. And sadly, I have actually not seen that movie. It is not from not wanting to see it. It's just I haven't, and a lot of my friends grew up with it. I just have, when I was younger, I never was I was a Disney movie kid, the fantasy, my mom bought all my movies for me, so, I didn't really have a, choice or anything, and I didn't really have any, preference on it much, So I kind of just went with the flow when I was, 2 or 3 years old, however young I was when I watched movies. So yeah, basically, yeah, I think his, it just wasn't just something that I really watched a lot, his that movie was, is something that, I've heard a lot of good things about. I've heard some of the songs like Underground and Magic Dance. They're really cool songs. You can tell they are soundtrack songs. It just is something that I just never got to really run around to watching, But I will be watching it soon. And I will be doing it with a good friend of mine, my friend Yuna, who is the biggest David Bowie fan you could meet. And a lot of you guys think that you're the biggest fan, but you haven't met this girl. She's pretty fantastic with her knowledge of Bowie. Impressed the fuck out of me. Yeah. So yeah, she's probably watching this right now. So yeah, hi, how's it going? We're gonna watch Labyrinth. You're gonna show me Labyrinth, and we're gonna watch Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, and The Man Who Fell to Earth. Some of you know that I'm currently working on reviewing all the Criterion Collection movies, and so right now I'm on like 261, 262. The Man Who Fell to Earth is 304, so it's coming. This is number 535, so I probably won't get to this one until about 2018, unless I decide to just start marathoning them a lot quicker than I have. I try to do 100 a year, but anyway, so yeah, so I'm gonna have a guest reviewer on the Bowie movies, and it'll be awesome. It'll be a lot of fun. So Labyrinth is one that, I have nothing against Labyrinth. Please don't hate me for not seeing Labyrinth. It will happen. It just hasn't, just the time and place just haven't come, But I have seen Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. It's a fantastic movie. If you guys haven't seen it, you got to get on that one. It's not Labyrinth. Bowie doesn't do any singing. It's just an acting movie. It's just a movie where Bowie just really impresses you with his acting skills. What else? Yeah, so I did listen to the Tin Machine albums. It's been a while, and like I said, a lot of this music a lot of his albums I have not heard since like 2008, 2009. Like the Tin Machine albums. I remember the Buddha of Suburbia. I wasn't crazy about that one because it was soundtrack one. Although I did like Sex in the Church. That one was a really cool, like down tempo kind of techno cut from him. Of course, Black Tie, White Noise I mentioned. And yeah, other albums I can't remember very well, like Hours and Reality. Yeah, those ones I can't remember a lot of. I remember Thursday's Child from Hours. But one that I really liked was Outside. I think that's probably my favorite David Bowie album is Outside. And I think I just liked it because it was a concept album. I love the music. Hollow Space Boy is a great cut. I love that he worked with the Pet Shop Boys, which is another one of my all-time favorite artists. And Strangers When We Meet is a beautiful song. And gosh, yeah, that's one I haven't heard in a while either. What else is I'm looking at what's on that one? Oh, I Have Not Been to Oxford Town is a great cut. We Prick You. Through These Architects' Eyes. Yeah, those are some great songs. And Earthling. Earthling's I used to have Earthling too. That was the one I used to have, but I sold it sadly just recently when I decided that I was gonna just have it when it came to the Bowie box set, the one that has that was released back in 2007. It's like a box set that has Outside, Earthling, Hours, Heathen, and Reality, and it has like bonus discs with like B-sides and remixes on each one. And there's a copy at my local record store that's been sitting on the shelf, and I'm tempted to get it on Thursday if it's not already gone, which it probably is. But if it isn't, I'm going to buy it. I don't care how much it costs. I'm just going to buy it along with Black Star. Yeah, because Earthling is Earthling is fantastic. I love the drum and bass. I had mixed feelings about it the first time I heard it, but I listened to it again when I bought it, and I thought, it's a great album. I mean, like, Dead Man Walking, Little Wonder, Telling Lies, The Last Thing You Should Do is my favorite. And, of course, I'm Afraid of Americans. My friend Johnny and he can nail the Trent Reznor part. So we do that a lot at karaoke, and it gets, people just, go crazy for it. So, yeah, that's a fantastic one. Speaking of duets, another one we do that my friend Johnny and I do is the Mick Jagger, David Bowie cover of Dancing in the Street, which a lot of people ridicule that music video and the cover, and all that, but we love it. It's hilarious. I mean, Mick Jagger and David Bowie, it's like these great forces, when these forces get together, it's like, it's a great, and we love it. I mean, the video is cheesy as hell. Jagger stops and drinks out of a Pepsi can for no reason, and just like, and it's like, David Bowie's big coat, and they're dancing and looking at each other, touching their foreheads. It looks like they're gonna like kiss or make out at any point, and it's just. But it's just the 80s. It was the 80s. It was a fantastic time, Yeah, and then, there's other albums like, Earthling's great. Heathen, I remember Heathen pretty well. Sunday is one of my favorites. And 5:15, The Angels Have Gone. Cactus, great Pete Townsend working with him on that song. And yeah, it's just really great stuff. And then, yeah, Reality, I've only heard Reality. I remember what was the last song on that album? I'm trying to remember what that last one was. What was the name of that last song? Bring Me the Disco King. That was a good song. And New Killer Star, yeah, and Try Some Buy Some. His cover of that, yeah. And Fall Dog Bombs the Moon. Yeah, all those great cuts. And yeah, then brings us up to the next day. And yeah, I remember when the next day came out, I was like, I was like first in line to get it at my record store. And I bought it, thought it was awesome. I loved Where Are We Now and Valentine's Day. And yeah, however, sadly, I sold that one too. The only reason I sold that was because I found out there was Bowie released the deluxe edition, and yeah, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna get the deluxe edition, you know, and I still haven't got that yet. So yeah, I need to stop. I just end up selling albums when I know that I'm gonna buy more later, you know. Um, shoot, yeah. So I think I want to hear that now. I want to hear. Let's see. I want to hear this one now. And yeah, no, I think that just Bowie just. I think he's just. I don't know, but yeah, that's about all I can say really. 'Cause that brings us up to the present. Yeah, just Bowie just really just changed things. I think he really just made things okay. He made glam rock okay. You know, he made and he just the king or queen of androgyny. I think he's fucking gorgeous on the cover of The Man Who Sold the World. I remember when I looked at it, I was like, wait, is that Bowie? I thought and at some point, at one point, I thought he had a sex change, when I was younger, it's like, I didn't know, but I didn't realize that he just wore a dress, he was comfortable wearing dresses, and I was like, dude, I mean, obviously he kind of abandoned that, in the 80s, he just started wearing more suits, and all that, but he never really, lost sense of his, this, his, mischievous side, the side that, that was just different, not that he really had a different side, like everything about him was different. His music, his style, just his attitude, he's just a different guy. And man, yeah, I'm still kind of just in shock, but at the same time, you know, I I've been telling myself this. It's not like he lived an unfulfilled life. He has all this music. He has a beautiful discography, and he did so much for music. He touched a lot of hearts, and he gave us so many memories with his music and movies and everything. So it's not like he was some 22-year-old guy who recorded one or two albums, and just said that was it, or that was it, and he died, at such a young age. Dude was 69, and he had all these albums. He had over 50, 20 albums. What album was Black Star? Black Star was his 25th studio album. So yeah, the dude did work, So I don't, I'm very sad, I wish he could stick around, because I'd love to hear what else he had up his sleeves, especially considering I've heard that, he did have some possible projects. I just heard a rumor that apparently he might have been working with Gorillaz on their new album. Jamie Hewlett, the artist and the designer, the guy who does all the animation for the Gorillaz, drew a portrait of Bowie in the kind of Gorillaz style and posted it on his Instagram a month ago. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And so I'm like, well, maybe Bowie's. It'd be just like, oh my God, Bowie and Gorillaz. That's awesome, So I'm wondering if that's gonna still come to light, But anyway, yeah, just I'm sad he's gone, but at the same time, You know, I'm smiling because he's up there with Lennon doing his funky guitar thing, on Fame. You know, doing that thing with him, and just, yeah, he's rocking out. You know, he's the star man in the sky. You know, and that's how. I mean, I want to remember him as just a great artist. You know, I don't necessarily want to remember him as the star man, and you know, that's the thing about Bowie. Um, I love his music. I love what he did. Um, but yeah, and I hate that the hipsters got to him. You know, it's like I love, you know, like Yuna and I, we have heard all his albums and we love his music and we love, you know, basically everything he does. You know, but a lot of people, and that's this, and I may get into some hot water for saying this, but a lot of people just, you know, heard his songs, heard a song in his I think a lot of people just don't, you know, see Bowie as one side. And to really love Bowie, you gotta get every side of him, you know. A lot of people just know Bowie, you know, as the Ziggy Stardust, you know, persona, you know, or you know, from Heroes, you know, because they saw Perks of Being a Wallflower, you know, and that's it, you know. It's like, oh my God, what's this song? Oh, that's the song where those two characters kissed, you know. It's like, that's not how I want to remember that. I want to remember Heroes. I want to remember Heroes as the song that, this really sad song that was really pretty and sad song, you know. That's, I don't want to, you know, I don't want to tie it in with any movie or like, you know, franchise or anything like that, you know. I want to remember it as, you know what I want to remember it as the, hang on, wait a minute. Um, you know what I want to remember Heroes as? I want to remember Heroes as the third track off the Heroes album. Oh crap! The Secret Life of Arabia. Oh my God, I forgot all about that song. Oh Jesus Christ! Oh, I've got to get back onto the Berlin trilogy. But yeah, no, I don't know. I've always had a kind of just like, I mean, and just like, it's kind of just soured my. It's like it's soured the experience. It hasn't soured my opinion on Bowie, but it's soured the experience of listening to Bowie for me. Just to know that like so many people, I just don't feel like so many people educate themselves enough on Bowie. It's like they buy Hunky Dory and Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spires from Mars and Heroes, and that's it. You know, they're not going about to listen to Lodger or you know, or Earthling or Reality or even, you know, David Bowie, the first David Bowie album. You know, they're not going to do that. They're going to they're going to keep Bowie, their vision of Bowie, into this one little like tightly knit box. When his music, you know, he deserves so much more respect than that. You know. And so that's why I hate when people use his music in movies, and they're usually like teen dramas and or book adaptations. I'm sure his music's, you know what, I bet you anything. I'm gonna try something here. I'm gonna look up, and I could be wrong here, but I'm gonna look up the soundtrack to the movie. No, okay, well wait. I just looked up the soundtrack to Paper Towns, and I thought, okay, it's probably on there. No, wait, but Fault in Our Stars, come on. Fault in Our Stars. I know David Bowie is on here. No, it isn't. Oh, never mind. Never mind. Okay, well, that is a new one on me. I so thought that David Bowie would be used on a movie like The Fault in Our Stars. I know he's on, like I said, friggin' Perks of Being a Wallflower, and it's like, well, that's not enough. That's not enough to just know Heroes. There's so much more to his music. And I'm glad, and I'm proud to be one of those people who respect him for, you know, so much more than that, you know. Yeah, so anyway, I know that's not a really popular opinion, but it just kind of frustrates me sometimes. But anyway, alright, I gotta play my song. play my song out. Black tie, white noise. Where is it? Black tie, white noise. Come on, give me the black tie. Put on the black tie. Crank out the white noise. Yeah. So, and this, yeah, Black Tie, White Noise is another one of my all-time favorite songs. Some of you know I record music under the name The Point of Realization, and this is one that I've used for a song I did called Numbers, and it's ended up being one of my all-time favorite songs. Not just because of the sample, but just because it just came together so well, you know. Yo. I sampled that little bit right there, and it was just. And yeah, it just turned out to be a fantastic song. And so yeah, now when I listen to it, I'm just gonna think of Bowie, and I'm so glad he was on this earth to make this song and give me a groove, you know. And yeah, working with I'll Be Sure too, working with the great I'll Be Sure, you know. But yeah, so that's all I really have to say about Bowie. He is a beautiful man, and wherever he is right now, I've been seeing the quote. There's a quote. He's been going around my Facebook page like crazy, like spreading like wildfire. I don't know where I'm going next, but something about I don't know where I'm going next, but I promise you it won't be boring or something like that. And that's pretty wonderful sentiment from Mr. B. So what's going on? Some blood, no doubt. You should come through, no doubt. Sorry, this chorus gets to me sometimes. Yeah, so anyway, that's all I got to say. Mr. Bowie, if you're watching this right now, we'd love to have you back anytime. But if you gotta go, you know, all we can do is just miss you. And we love you. And wherever you are right now, I hope you're still making music, because when I get to where you are, I want to hear what you got, you know. So maybe you'll release the Toy album. Maybe you'll release the Toy. Maybe you'll let me hear the Toy album, you know, or the unedited Toy sequence, you know. Maybe just maybe, you know. Anyway, thanks for watching, and here's to Mr. Bowie. Take care.